Content marketing is one of the best, most proven ways to grow your business online. If you're not doing this already, you're seriously missing out on an opportunity to get discovered by your ideal customers. So without a doubt, irrespective of whichever other marketing strategies you end up using, this should be one of the first marketing strategies that you implement and should be a core part of your online marketing. That being said, what is content marketing and how do you go about it? In simple terms, content marketing is where you package up information that can be easily consumed by a particular audience. Now, this information should be geared towards solving a problem for your target audience or help them towards achieving a particular outcome or goal that they have. This is then distributed or marketed online and therefore is able to be discovered by your ideal client or customer. Once they see your content, they'll be able to actually get to know you, build up some trust with you as you're able to help them through this content. They are then at that point more likely to turn into a client or customer or a long-term advocate for your business. So how do you put together an effective content marketing strategy? Well, that's what I'm going to share with you today. But before I jump into that, if you watch this video all the way through, you'll get to see a custom tool that I use to manage my entire content creation and publishing process. And I'm going to give you free access to that tool as well so that you can use it in your very own process. You'll be getting this as a free download as well as you'll get to see my favorite list of tools that I use for content creation so that you can actually use those same tools as well. Now, let's jump in. Step 1 is to do audience research. You need to get clear on who your audience is in the first place so you can know what's the most effective content or what's the best, most effective content for them. In order to do content research, you have to kind of think about the questions that you get all the time. Start there. If you have clients already, they might be asking you specific things around your subject area, or it might be potential clients or other people that's in your space and that's interested in the topic might be asking you questions because they realize that you do know about this type of topic. So note down the questions that you get asked all the time. Look for those common threads. And the next thing that you want to do is to go online, look at social media, look at Google, look at YouTube, see what people are commenting, see what people are asking, and again, look for those common threads. And you want to put together a hit list of content topics that you can then create. Make sure you have enough topics on your hit list that's going to give you well-rounded coverage of your subject area so that when someone does find one piece of your content, they can dive into different aspects of it and you can basically get their attention and hold that attention because you're covering so much related to the questions that they may have or even things that they might not have thought about. You would have actually provided content that's going to cover these. This is going to obviously establish you as an expert in their heads and as an authority figure. And that is the start of the journey. You get people that discover your content that way and come into what's called the top of your funnel. These are new people coming in and discovering you. And then you can take them through your sales process or your funnel to actually convert them into leads and then into customers. Step number 2 is to pick your format and your platform. So this is all about figuring out what type of content you want to go forth and do and where you want to place your energy. So there are 3 main types of content or forms of content that you could do. This could be either audio, video, or written content. So with audio, we're talking about podcasts, or it could be some other recording like a training that you can distribute as a downloadable file from your website. In terms of video, we're talking about anything that you can actually record on camera, such as presentations, tutorials, anything like that that you can distribute online, such as on YouTube and on other platforms. The next thing is written content in the form of, say, blog posts or articles. You can distribute those on your very own blog or website, or you can use other platforms that allow you to write blog posts and publish them there. People then get to discover your content that way as well. So you need to pick the format that you're going to do that is best suited for you and your audience. And then you need to also choose one platform that you're going to focus on. So the reason why you want to focus on one platform is because if you try to do too many different platforms, especially at the start, you're going to end up running the risk of burning out and running yourself too thin. So you won't actually gain traction on any one platform. So let's say you want to do video. My recommendation would be for you to go with YouTube, because that is the best, most effective way to get long-term growth. And it's the most evergreen content where video is concerned, if you ask me, or just in general, where content is concerned. As in, your content, once you create a video and publish it on YouTube, it remains there for a very long time, and it can be discoverable for months or years to come. Whereas with other platforms, the content may be buried or disappears. It disappears after a very short time, and it doesn't necessarily bring in traffic to you or bring in new leads or new audience members to you. So YouTube is my go-to recommendation if you're going to do video. If you want to do a podcast, that is not something that's necessarily discoverable as easily, but you can actually do a podcast and promote that on other platforms and in other ways, so then people can actually start listening to it. And people who tend to listen to podcasts end up becoming more loyal to you and more loyal to your business. So it is a great way to build up that long-term relationship with your potential clients and customers. With written content, you have the opportunity to get discovered in Google searches, because depending on what you write in your blog posts, you might end up ranking or showing up in search results for these blog posts when people are searching for a particular search term. But one of the main reasons you want to do it is not just for discoverability, but when people do come to your website or they do find you, you want to have that library of content that they can go through, because remember, your content is going to establish you as an authority in your space, in your field. And people naturally build up that trust and that expert factor, so that when they are ready to make a buying decision, they can only think of one person or one business to go to, and that is yours, because you've already consistently delivered for them in terms of educating them or providing them with something useful for them to draw from in terms of helping them on their journey to solve their problem. One of the things that you can do once you've actually picked your primary format and your platform is to repurpose that content from that main platform that you've done to other platforms as well. And this is a way to get more reach without having to do all that work over again. Now, the third step in this strategy is to actually create and publish your online content. What you want to do is to organize and prioritize your content topics so that you can then publish those individual pieces of content more effectively. In order to do so, you need some sort of system to manage your entire content creation and publishing. You can use various types of tools to do this, but for me, I use a custom spreadsheet that I've created in Google Sheets, and that's what I'm going to showcase to you right now to show you how that works for me. And I'm also going to give you access to that free template version of it, so you can actually implement this in your own content creation strategy. Okay, so what you're looking at on screen right now is my content publishing master sheet, and the specific tab that is on is for my podcast. Now, I do have multiple tabs in here depending on the type of content that I'm doing, and I also have a section here for my content ideas, so things that I have in mind to publish in the future. I will just jot them down there and actually manage that process there. However, I'm just going to show you my podcast sheet. The others are pertaining to videos, trainings, or workshops that I've got planned and things like that. So what this has the power to do is allow me to have an overview of everything that's happening. So as you can see, these are all my podcast episodes. The recent ones are at the top. Some of them are not actually published yet, and the older ones that's been published are towards the bottom. So what I do is I bring in my content topic in here, and I have this basically this status control here that lets me know. I set this to whichever stage I'm at. So right now this is published. As you can see, it's got a list here of writing, recording, editing, uploading, all the way down to published, right? So depending on what state I'm at, I can select basically what I need to do here. And when you have so much content going on, you want to have something like this to keep track of it. Otherwise, you end up making mistakes, or you end up like not publishing things correctly. There's also a priority column in here as well that I can select to say like this is going to be prioritized over other content, depending on what I'm trying to do. Now, if I move over to the right of the sheet here, you'll see that I have some additional columns. This one is the status notes. So if I have anything in addition to just put in the standard status here, I can say, for example, if something's on hold, I can say the reason why it's on hold, or anything to do with the editing notes, I could say what it needs to be. What I tend to do though is put some links to resources that I'm using for my research or things like that throughout my process. I have a due date here, a published date as well, but I don't necessarily use these. I have a title section and a short description. So this is if you are, say, publishing a YouTube video, you can have a short description that describes what the video is about, or if it's a podcast episode, you can have that in there as well. Now, the main point of this is so you can have absolute control over what's happening, so you know what's supposed to happen and when it's supposed to happen. I have my writing documents separate to this though. I basically have a link to another Google Doc here that I basically write out each episode or each video. I have an outline that I create in there, and this is how I do all of this basically. Now, what I'm going to do is show you a blank template version. Is a cut down version that I'm going to share with you. And you'll be able to grab hold of this completely for free if you head over to my website, marlonmcpherson.com/content manager. So marlonmcpherson.com/content manager. You can download it and save a copy to your own Google Drive, because obviously this is done in Google Sheets. And you have the ideas section here that you can put your ideas in. You can come in here and select whether it's a podcast or a video or a blog post. You can easily click this edit button here or edit icon to change up what's in the list or add your own options if you wish. And you can have your reference material. So this is going to be if, say, you have an article that you're going to draw from, or a video that you might be drawing from, or something that's already published that you're using for research and inspiration, you can put that in there. If you're doing blog posting or article writing, you might want to look at keywords that you might want to include in there and things like that. So that's what you can use this for, and any additional info. And then you have the main content manager tab here. Obviously, I've had things pre-selected already, but I'm just going to clear these out. But as you could see, you could select what you need to, what stage you're at, and you can select the content type here. Now, if you say do separate pieces of content, let's say you have a podcast, you have a video, you do video separately as well, and you do articles separately, you can just copy this, do a duplicate by right-clicking and say duplicate, and it will create a copy inside here, and you can just rename this and call it podcast or video content manager, whatever you want to call it, and just reuse it just the same. Also, I have a tab here. I'm not going to reveal it in this video, but there's a tab that has a list of my favorite content marketing tools that I use pretty much every day in my process, and also any additional recommendations I have in there as well. So again, you can grab this over on my website and download it and start using it, and hopefully this is helpful to you. If you've got any questions or any comments regarding the strategy and using this tool as well, just leave me some comments below and I'll try my best to answer you there and give you some assistance. Until next time, take care and keep doing your thing.